Welcome back. Let's talk Hurricanes versus Rangers playoff series preview. Now, before we get started, I just want to ask you to please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which will be about Predators versus Coyotes. I almost forgot for a second. Now, this is the second last video in a series that I've been doing. They're all about play-ins, obviously, that are coming up. And I'll put up a link up top over the last few videos that I shot, so you can click on them at your leisure. But of course, you can just as easily find them in my playlist. Now, these two teams faced each other 4 times this season. New York took every single game. And 3 of those games, Lundqvist was in net for them, which is a little surprising, seeing as how his save percentage has taken quite the dive. Shesterkin was in net for the other one, by the way. Now, both of these teams play in the Metro. Carolina finished 4th in the division with 81 points and were seeded 6th. The Rangers finished 7th in the division with 79 points and were seeded 11th. Now, speaking of some team stats here, let's start with the special teams, obviously. The power play, the Hurricanes were 8th. Huge improvement over last year. But the Rangers beat them. They're a smidgen better at number 7. The penalty kill, though, the Hurricanes also improved there. They're 4th. The Rangers, 23rd. I see a weakness, Lord Voldemort. Now, the Rangers have a problem here because they're also number 1 during the regular season in taking penalties. You can thank both Brendans for that, New York fans, and I'm talking about Lemieux and Smith, who are ranked number 2 and 19, respectively, in players' penalty minutes. Now, moving on to goals for, Carolina's 15th in the league, New York's 5th. Yeah, Panarin just did wonders for them, didn't he? Goals against, the Hurricanes are 9th, the Rangers 23rd. But you could say that vastly changed when Shesterkin arrived in January. Now, face-off win percentage, which could be exceedingly more important in the playoffs. The Hurricanes finished 9th. The Rangers suck. They're 30th. Yeah. And when it comes to 20-plus goal scorers, the Hurricanes have 2. The Rangers have 3, plus 1 18-goal scorer. 50-plus point players, the Hurricanes have 3. The Rangers have 4. Now, a couple of notes here for each team. Starting with the Hurricanes, Sebastian Aho is tied for 5th in the NHL in goals. He's also 5th in even strength goals and tied for 1st for shorthanded goals and 2nd for shorthanded points. This guy is the Hurricane engine, or the eye to the storm, or however else you'd like to phrase it. When it comes to the Rangers side of things here, Panarin, it's all about him, really. Him and Zimbabwe. Panarin is 3rd in the NHL of points, of course, 2nd in assists. He's also 1st in NHL even strength points. Zimbabwe is 4th in the NHL in goals, in case you've been hiding under a rock. Now, speaking of, let's do some positional breakdowns here, starting with the goaltending and beginning with the Hurricanes and Peter Mrazek, who definitely had a down season. He played 40 games, had a .905 save percentage, and compared to last year, where he played the same amount of games and he was a .914. Now, of course, in 11 games in the playoffs, he was at .894. Yeah. When it comes to playoff experience, he's got 22 games under his belt in 4 separate appearances, and that averages to a .905 save percentage in the 7 seasons he's been in the league, not including this one. Now, James Reimer, on the other hand, has had a real rebound season in his first year with the Carolina Hurricanes after coming across from Florida. In 25 games, he had a .914 save percentage, as opposed to last year where he was a .900. So I'm really happy to see him rebound, the former Toronto Maple Leaf goalie there. And when it comes to playoff games, he's only got 8, most of them with Toronto, and that's in 2 separate appearances. His average is .890 when it comes to playoff games, and he's that's over a 10-season career, not including this one again. Now, there's an asterisk here on the average because, yeah, he played 7 games with Toronto and was a .923, and then there's 1 game that he played for San Jose in which he stunk. So that kind of dragged his average down. let's talk about the Rangers and the huge, great problem they have in net. Starting with Igor Shesterkin. Now, as I mentioned, he came in January and was lights out. Played 12 games, was a .932 save percentage. For those of you who think that's not enough, well, he played 25 games in the AHL and was a .934. And this is his first season on North American ice. He's been spectacular. And if you look back at his international numbers, they're just as amazing. So there could be an issue when it comes to who starts in net. Next off, there's Alexander Gourcuff, who had a bit of a down year, I guess. He played 34 games and had a .910 save percentage. Over league average, still not bad, as opposed to a .914 in 33 games last year. And, of course, he also has no playoff experience along with Shesterkin. Now, moving over to the three-headed dragon here in Lundqvist, the King, had an off year, was a .905 in 30 games. But he's been on the slide for a while, really. We all know that. Last year in 52 games, he was a .907. The year before that, he was a .915. And the year before that, .910. So, the end is sort of coming. He signed for one more year, obviously. We'll see what happens. Maybe he retires or something. Last time he was in the playoffs was 2017, or in 12 games, he was a .927 save percentage. And in 128 playoff games, I think the only current active goalie in the playoffs who has around the same number, maybe more, is Fleury, of course, of the Vegas Golden Knights. Now that's 128 games for Lundqvist in 11 separate appearances, and he averages out to have a .910 save percentage. And that's in the 15 seasons before this one in the league. Now let's move on to defense here, and let's talk about the difference in goals that come from each team. New York has a slight edge there as a 4-goal difference between the two. And when it comes to points, New York's defense has outscored Carolina's by doing the math here. I think I want to say like 22 points, give or take a point. Forwards, same deal. Goals. New York also edges Carolina in this department by 9, 10, 11, 12, by 12 goals. Not many. And then when it comes to points, the Rangers also have the edge here, and they have a 14-point. There's a 14-point difference. Now, when we go through each positional department and who I think officially has the edge, we start with goaltending. That's all New York. It's not even close, really. More on all of these in a second when I talk about keys to the series. Defense, I gotta give that edge to Carolina. They're stacked, and remember, they're going to be getting Hamilton and Vatanen back in the lineup, and may even get Pesce as well. And then New York, they're a little weak on that left side. Now, when it comes to the forward group, you have to give a slight edge. To New York. I mean, with the superstars like Panarin and Zibanejad in the lineup, there's also Kreider, and there's others, I know, but Carolina just doesn't have the same amount of star power there. Special teams, you have to give that to the Hurricanes. And when it comes to coaching, I give the slight edge to Brind'Amour over David Quinn. They've both been head coaching in the NHL for the same amount of time. Neither of them... Oh, no. Brind'Amour, of course, being the only one who's actually coached in the playoffs, which is why I give him the edge. But he's also been an assistant coach in the NHL for 7 seasons, all with Carolina, which I was a little bit surprised how long that was. David Quinn, of course, has not. He's only been in NHL 2 years. Now, when it comes to the keys to the series, starting with the Hurricanes, leaky goaltending. Who gets the start in that? I guess you default to Mrazek, but... may that switch really fast if things start going south for him. And then there's the Panarin-Zibanejad issue. They've got to find a player to neutralize those guys. I would assume that would probably be Stahl's duty as center from the third line there. The cycle game, they've got to hammer that away and play in the offensive zone, New York's that is, and not give these guys any space to breathe. especially in terms of, adding that grittiness and sandpaper to it all to draw some penalties, because New York kind of stinks on the penalty kill. The other thing is they've got to stay out of the box because New York's even better than them on the power play. That's an issue. And they're second in the league at drawing penalties. What a combination. Now, then there's the Trocheck, issue. Will he pay off? He only has 2 points in 7 games since he was traded from the Florida Panthers. He was considered an upgrade on that second line center spot. And this season and last have been kind of a down years for him. I want to say the season before last, he had a really good year. He had like 30 goals. We'll see what he does. Niederreiter, can he regain his form? That's important. He's the second line winger there. And then moving on to the defense, Jake Gardiner. Coming from a Toronto fan, I like the guy, I do, but you probably know what I'm going to say here. He may not even get to play, really, because of Vatanen and Hamilton and even Pesce returning to the lineup. But if he does, I'd cut his minutes in half in the third period. Yeah. Then there's they have to take advantage of just having just an overall deeper defensive core. I kind of already mentioned that. And they also need the occasional goal from the bottom six there. That's important. They really need to spread out their offense because Aho's really their only lone kind of superstar, so to speak. Although, Svechnikov, I know, and Niederreiter or Niederreiter. Teravainen are nothing to sneeze at. Now, on the Rangers side of things, is it Shesterkin or is it Lundqvist? And what a great problem to have, really. Lundqvist will be backing up Shesterkin. That's what it looks like is going to start with. Anyway, draw penalties. Play with an edge. Because they've got such a great power play. Shots. Take lots of them and get to the goalies fast and often because it's obviously their weak link on the Carolina side. Then I got a few things I'm nitpicking here, but Kakko, don't start him in the D zone. He has by far the worst plus-minus on the team, and hell, if things are looking good, maybe he does a little moonlighting on the first or second line from time to time. I believe he's on the second power play, but still. And then let's say the Rangers go down a game, maybe even 2. Might they consider, playing with 7 defensemen, having that extra left shot D to come in? Who might that be? And just double shift Panarin. You want to play him a lot anyways. I believe he already averages just over 20 minutes a night. So can he take that kind of time each and every game? And then there's the bottom 6. They're not exactly the most productive bunch. All I got to say about that is just don't get scored on. Their third line has got a really bad plus-minus, mostly because of Kakko, I know. But, hey, they'll be getting Hedl back as a third-line center, so that'll be great. He actually has 14 goals this season. That's respectable. And that's it. I would love to hear from you, Ranger and Hurricane fans, down in the comment section below, who you think has the edge and why. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I just want to give out a quick shout out to my friends and family who wished me a happy birthday today. I really appreciate it. I love you all. And yeah, be kind to each other. And I'll see you soon. Thanks.